You're super excited, you bought your brand new GPU, you put it in your motherboard, and it's sagging a lot. Let's look at some of your support options. What's up guys, Andrew here on my channel GearedInc, where I get to share what I'm passionate about with you, and on my channel that's PC tech, games, and gear. Today we are talking about GPU sag, which is a problem because if you've ever experienced it, it's kind of scary. Basically, as you go up in GPUs, as far as kind of the higher end, you're going to start running into bigger and bigger cards. This can be a problem because depending on your configuration, you can get what's called GPU sag, where basically the GPU is too heavy for the support that's already there with the two screws on the back and the GPU and the PCIe slot, which can lead to either ripping that slot out or damaging the motherboard. So there are a couple solutions out there. You can jerry rig. I'm actually going to show you kind of a cheap option that I came up with at the end, but I'm going to be talking about GPU support brackets, which you can buy. So the first one is called the Atlas Brace. Now this is by 4th Level Manufacturing, runs for about $17 on Amazon, which is a little overpriced in my opinion because it's not metal. I'll show you guys here just in case you're wondering. It's plastic. It's like an acrylic plastic. I mean, it looks good, and the installation, which I'm going to show you here in a sec, it's not really it's not hard at all, but I mean, I was kind of expecting a little bit more for the cost that I paid, and I do like the way it looks, but just in case, just so you guys know, this is not made of metal, but I do like the way it looks. The other one that I'm going to be going over is the Universal Bracket by Corsair Master. You can kind of see it right there. Now this is great because if you have 2 GPUs and you need support for both, this is an option that you can use as well. Because it's coming from Corsair, it is well manufactured. This whole component is made out of metal. The brackets are plastic, but very easy to put together, and you can just screw it apart right here if you wanted to just to do one. So let me go over a couple quick things. So we're going to start here with the Atlas Brace. Now installation is pretty easy. You just install on the back of the case. You take out the screws where you put in for anything that you're connecting through a PCIe slot, and then once it's installed, it has these little rubber tabs. You set them up and you secure it under the GPU. Now again, this does look good, and it's strong enough that I wasn't really worried about it, you know, starting to bend under my GPU. But on heavier GPUs, it might be something you need to worry about, just because again, it is made of acrylic plastic. Now the other one, of course, we have is the universal support from Corsair Master. Now this obviously is very strong. Those tabs are actually pretty solid. One thing to note though is I don't like the way it looks. I mean, basically you're just putting this big stand in your case, which I mean you could dress up a little bit, but it kind of looks a little gawky. If you're going for aesthetics, this is obviously something that you're going to have to deal with. Now both of these come in right around $17–18 on Amazon, which I feel the Corsair Master, due to its construction, is definitely a better option. That's not to say the Atlas Brace is bad by any means. It's just, again, for that much money, I feel like I could have just gotten a ruler, like, you know, jerry-rig something. So if you're not wanting to spend that much money on either one of these options, you can kind of get creative as far as going up. So for me, Darth Vader head, that's what I came up with. It was like $2. It's a little candy tray. Put it underneath. It works just fine. Now something to note is that if you are going to be using anything other than a bracket to support your GPU, you want to make sure that you're being careful about the materials that are coming into contact with the GPU, especially if the you know, it's touching any of the area that's not protected by the shroud. There can be certain, you know, there can be certain issues with conductive material, stuff like that, which obviously glass is just fine. And because my build is called Stormtrooper, Darth Vader head works pretty well. And all in all, I mean, if you are going to be doing a GPU support bracket, I mean, you can deck it out, but I personally have a hard time justifying spending $50 even on an RGB when all I know it's acrylic plastic and just like a strip of LED that some guy put on there for like $3, and then we were paying 50 bucks. So the biggest thing is this: if you do have GPU sag, do something about it. Don't ignore it because it can cause major issues. And the last thing you want to do is get your beautiful new rig together, or your beautiful new GPU, slap it in, and a month later rip out the PCIe slot and have all that, you know, to deal with monetary wise, and you know, it's money that you don't want to spend. So guys, I hope that this review has been helpful for you. If it has been, leave me a thumbs up. If it wasn't, leave me a thumbs down. Get subscribed either way, guys. I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment. We do hope to see you next time here on GearedInc.